Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
We're kicking off a brand new week on Spaced Out Radio. Good to have you all with us. Thank you for allowing us to entertain you tonight. Lon Strickler and Strange Days is back. Dirty Filth is returning for some great cartoons, and all of you returning as well. Old Davey's not feeling very good tonight. Just going to let you know that. But nonetheless, we must battle through because that's what we do around here. Race Fan in the gold medal position. Ann B, the awesome one, in the silver. Roy Boy taking home the bronze. Hello, Smithy. And Rui from Portugal. Rui from Portugal will be signing autographs after the show. Line up to the left of the studio, if you don't mind. To the left of the studio. Michael Morris is back. He'll be signing autographs after the show as well. Line up to the right of the studio, if you don't mind. To the right of the studio. Deco and Dirty Filth. Kevin. Lovely Lisa Compton. Simon Condon and the gorgeous Cosmic Floor. Good to have you all here. Les Paul Holland, Downshift, A Muse, and the gorgeous Trisha. Nice to see you. Lovely Caroline Start, the gorgeous Kathy Evans. It's good to have you both back. Thank you for coming on in. And Asteroid, Big J, good to have you guys here. Invisible Tracker and Evan Walters, who's farting hard tonight. Good to see you guys. Thanks for coming in. One of our favorite veterans, the Marine, Black Dragon. Thank you so much for your service and always being a part of our show, my friend. Very much appreciate you. Steam Train Mark in Australia, thank you for letting me know that I am alive in the future tomorrow. Invisible Tracker, good to see you. National Memorial, awesome. Ann Palmer. Doug Shelby is here, ladies and gentlemen. The Doug Shelby has arrived, which means we can officially start the show. Peppa H, Alien Critter, and from Pattaya, Sweden, number 13 in your program, starting on defense, Lars Janssen. There we go. Dim and the stunning Jeanette Sanchez. How are you? YJ Overlander, good to see you, my friend. Hi, Sandra. Hi, Sandra. Hi, Sandra. Michael Fontaine, Greg Moyes, good to have you guys here. Blue Jersey, always a pleasure. Digger Dog, the stunning Donna Spencer has arrived. And there's Greg Moyes and our good friend Nancy Taylor, who's brand new to our chat room. Welcome, Nancy. Thank you for joining us. And who else do we have here? Northern California Cubs fan. Stu Gerson, Glenn Dannison, Tony Harris, Damian K. How you all doing? Bombshell Bombers looking bombshell-like tonight. Beelzebrad, good to have you back, buddy. It's been a while. Another great veteran here, Dennis Zuniga. Nice to have you here, Dennis. Brown Dwarf, the lovely Jenny, and Raz. How you doing? Kawhi Snyder and HK911. Welcome to SOR Chat. As we continue on with roll call, Noble Patrick, the gorgeous Lala Bright. How y'all doing? Thank you for coming on in. See who else we got here. We have Rockford Scanner. Welcome to SOR Chat. Terry Brown, thanks for coming on in, my man. And I know I just missed a bunch of people. I scrolled too far. Nick FM, the champ. Nice to have you here, champ. Hope you got your jersey on. And the gorgeous and talented Kira. The stunning Michelle Labigan. And I think there's Scrub-a-Dub-Dub. He's got us all in his tub. Welcome to SOR Chat. All right. Battling heartburn. Gorgeous Paula W. How are you? Battling sickness We are here for a good show tonight. Remember, the super chat is open. It's a wonderful way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. And of course, you can do a little shopping at spacedoutradio.com and check out our swag that we have hanging around there. It's always a good time. Do us a favor if you don't mind. Give us a thumbs up, thumbs down, or thumbs sideways. If you're new, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, ring the bell. We are here 7 days a week for your listening entertainment. Hi, gorgeous Ronnie. How you doing over there on Spreaker? Good to have you all here. We're going to rock it out in about 5 seconds, everyone. Let's have some fun tonight, and I'm sure we will. Take care. Here we go. Horns up. The mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world. This, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on Odyssey Radio, TalkStream Live, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. You can follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire, check out our swag as well. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. We got a great show for you tonight. Lon Strickler is here for another amazing edition of Strange Days. Then, you know what? We're not having a UFO report tonight. Tim is out traveling, so we have to do this ourselves. I'm going to think of a topic in hour number 3 at the bottom of it, and we're going to figure out what we can chat about right there. You know what? We'll play it by ear. Sometimes it's good to do that. It's healthy. And then Shirky Poo will, of course, have the news. Lon Strickler is back once again for another amazing edition of Strange Days, which happens near the end of each month here on Spaced Out Radio. Lon is the creator and head researcher for phantomsandmonsters.com, where literally each week he gets hundreds of reports of weird and strange animals and creatures that are being seen around the world. Sometimes they're recent updates, other times they are historic. But one thing that has every one of those stories in common is the way people have been freaked out. These are real people reporting this. This isn't any creepy pasta that's made up. And Lon has done a great job over the last decade or so in bringing all of these stories together at phantomsandmonsters.com. Lon Strickler, it's always a pleasure to have you on Spaced Out Radio, my friend. How you doing?
I'm hanging in there, Dave.
Good to have you here. It's always good to have you here. The hair's looking great. The beard's looking solid.
Yeah, I had to get a haircut.
You got your A game on tonight. I can tell that right off the bat here. Lon, you know, every time we bring you on, we have new listeners who are tuning on in each and every time. And we always like to start off with a little bit of an introduction here, so that way they can bond with you as they bond with our show as well. You know, you got started in this, almost 2 decades ago, phantomsandmonsters.com, well over a decade old here. I mean, you have put together an incredible collection of some of the weirdest, strangest stories from around the world. You know, when you got started, did you ever think phantomsandmonsters.com would go this big?
I didn't have a clue, to be honest with you. I was writing for another blog. Well, it wasn't a blog, it was a website. It was a local website in Maryland because I was living down in Baltimore then. And I was doing reports about investigations and such I had been actually doing for years. I mean, I started investigating when I was in high school. So that's back in the early 70s. So I've been doing this a long time. So I had a lot of stuff written up and I had a lot of material. But I was doing like a weekly column there, and that's all I was doing. So eventually I had a couple friends tell me, say, you need to start a blog. And back in 2005 when I started this, the blog thing was really popular back then. So I gave it a go. And it was slow at first, of course. It takes years and years of putting material out there. But 17 years later, my archive is at 7,800 right now, 7,800 posts. But I had to wean that down because of space and everything, and everything's up on a on a dry hard drive now. I figure I've done about 13,000 posts over that time.
Oh, wow. Wow. I got to ask you, and I never got to meet your beautiful wife who unfortunately passed away a few years ago. I mean, you guys were married a long time, man. When you started doing this, what did your wife say about you getting involved with all these monsters and legends? I'm surprised you don't have a handprint still stuck on the side of your head.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's a funny story. Her and I met in 1981. I had just gotten divorced and from my first marriage. And I met her. So I told her, well, look, I'm not going to tell her about all this stuff I've been doing. I had just had that Bigfoot encounter, actually. It was probably about 3 months after my Bigfoot encounter. And I said, well, I'm not even going to tell her about this. I'm just going to keep this quiet. So as things had eventually gone on, I did a few things here and there, but I really wasn't telling her about a lot of it. She knew I was doing something. She was a very spiritual person. She was really into angels, and she had some connection abilities. But I never really told her much about me personally, as far as being an intuitive and some of the experience I had. Back in 1988, when I had the winged humanoid experience, she knew I was going up there with my friends to try to figure out what was going on. But when I got back, I never told her a thing about it. I just held it from her. Because quite frankly, I don't think she really wanted to hear about it. And I knew she'd have been upset about it. So, I kind of kept it. But, as time went on and I started going into more and more spirit rescue and doing other things. And, while doing that, I did experience some psychic attacks and stuff. And I was doing a lot of work on the internet with people, and I was doing local hauntings. She eventually started going out on cases with me
Nice.
in the Baltimore area. So she had a good idea what was going on, but then I started explaining to her what I had been doing. And I think she was really surprised. She had no clue. So, So when I started the blog in 2005, she knew by then what was going on.
Oh man, I could just imagine her looking. What, you're chasing? What?
Yeah.
What is a Mothman? What is a Sasquatch? I could just imagine her saying that to you. Yeah. Oh my God, that would have been hilarious.
Yeah, it was interesting, but she took it to stride, and we got through all that.
For you, and the reason why I asked that is because so many people, Lon, are out there, myself included. Your story you just told, you were a little afraid to mention it to your wife, but so many people out there are going through that exact same thing, that same conundrum where, should I tell my story? Should I not? I'm afraid to tell my story. What if my name gets out in public? What if people see that I'm, researching what I saw, whether it was a UFO, a ghost, a monster, or fairies, or whatever it might be? How important is it for people to to garner that strength, Lon, and tell us what's going on?
Well, you do understand where they're coming from, and they are reluctant. They're afraid of being ridiculed, their name getting out there. And I think I probably have at least 70-80% of the people that come forward ask that I not use their name. And I very rarely use someone's name anyway, unless they insist on using it. But yeah, everything I do is confidential. The team I work with, they're the same way. That's just that's a prerequisite for this, for what we do. And you want to set parameters when you start working with people to let them know that their story is safe with you, and when we get the story, we're really a part of it then. And it's our job to make sure that we not infringe on somebody's privacy. So that's a big part of it.
It's one thing to keep somebody's name out of it, but I mean, from an experiential perspective, how important is it as researchers that we get these new reports, that we get their locations? That way we can maybe triangulate some sort of pattern. So how important is it for people who, in your case, Lon, who are on the edge or on the fence of whether or not they should say something, to come out, find that strength to a reputable researcher such as yourself or a few others that are out there to tell the story of what happened?
Well, it's interesting. It does take some coaxing. A lot of times I'll have somebody contact me, or call me, or send me an email. And many times they want to know who I am, what I do, how I report what I do, and confidentiality and everything. So there have been times when I've gone back and forth with the witnesses to try to make them more comfortable with me or with someone on my team that's going out there. Most of the time we get through all that, and yeah, it is important. I mean, just like this thing with out in the Chicagoland area, this is it has everything to do with people coming forward and even getting older reports. I mean, you kind of triangulate what's going on, though I don't really think triangulation has been much of a help, because this thing just seems to show up everywhere, or these things seem to show up everywhere. And but as time has gone by, we've gotten more and more information. We're getting a better idea of what we believe we're dealing with. And it when you put everything together, you look in the bigger scope of things. I think it's good overall. And you've seen how many we've got: 148 cases now, and we got 2 more that came past week, that we're still working on, which will be reported eventually. But we've been busy this summer. We've been really busy. The upright canines, the dogmen, the hyena-like beings, they've been coming pretty heavy this summer, especially here in Pennsylvania. I just say I wish Butch was around, because he'd have jumped into all this stuff. In fact, one sighting we have is right behind his place, right in his backyard.
Oh,
so yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
man, yeah,
Yeah.
that's still a tough one.
Yeah.
Still a tough one. But hey, he's got the answers now, and that's all that matters. Lon, when somebody files a report with you, and maybe they're a little shy, maybe they're a little, unknowing of what really is going on, what are some of the common questions you like to ask about their report? Not only to get them comfortable, to make sure that somebody isn't trying to pull a ruse and tell you some false information.
Well, first of all, I tell them, just tell me what happened. Tell me in your words what happened. I think it's best to listen to what they've got to say the whole way through first, and then I'll start going through with some questions and getting down to detail. but like I said earlier, the first thing I do is assure them this is all private, this is confidential. The most I'll ever use is maybe an initial or something to put onto the report that is seen by the public. But of course, we've got all the personal information, but that's never disclosed. And then after they tell me what their initial report was, if they start embellishing on it, then I usually have a problem, because that usually indicates to me that they're trying to make me happy. And first of all, I don't want them making me happy. You know, if there's something didn't happen, I don't want to hear that. I mean, I want to hear exactly what happened. And occasionally you will get that somebody will try to embellish to satisfy the investigator, but that's usually a good indication that something's up. Now, another thing with a lot of cases, and that's not necessarily what's happening in Chicago, but we have other phenomena that goes along with the sighting. And that has been happening more and more as years have gone by, in particular with like Bigfoot or other cryptid sightings, where there's like a maybe a spiritual aspect to it, a haunting, possibly a UFO, or even other cryptids. And a lot of times they will not come forward with that. That's why I like to have other people on the team talk to these witnesses to kind of coax a few other things out, especially team members that are psychic or have real deep intuitive abilities and read people very well. And yeah, that's when, then when that happens, then we can get down to the brass tacks, because a lot of times that's the initial reason why things happen. The things that they didn't believe were important to the actual sighting itself. So, we're kind of full service, and we kind of do as much as we possibly can to get to the answer.
I want to ask you an important question, because a couple of weeks ago I was in Denver for the MUFON symposium. And one of the things one of the directors came out and stated was the fact that there will be no paranormal investigated by MUFON. So if you have a case where, let's say you're having a lot of paranormal activity, you walk outside because maybe you need to catch your breath or whatever it may be, and all of a sudden you look up and there's a UFO over your house. Mm-hmm. You are not allowed to connect the two, or cryptids or anything like that. For me, I find that very disappointing. And like I told one of the board of directors, I said, that's very disappointing to hear, because it automatically means your stats are useless. They're flawed, because the minute you start editing your statistics on your reports, you're not doing it for the sake of the statistics. So we can't use them anymore. Mm-hmm. They're done. Mm-hmm. And I'm just curious, as a longtime investigator, and you have a lot of friends on MUFON. I got a lot of friends on MUFON. How do you feel about that?
Well, first of all, that's the reason why I'm not with MUFON anymore. That's their MO. They say they don't want anything paranormal. Well, I consider UFOs paranormal. I can consider all this phenomena to be paranormal. And but of course they're talking about cryptids and hauntings and spirits and everything else not associated with a nuts and bolts craft or a light in the sky or something. Even most ufology has paranormal aspects to it. And I've never really gotten into that. I never really understood that. Honestly, that type of thinking by MUFON gets us a lot of clients. It has gotten us a lot of clients from the Chicago sightings. The first 6 or 7 sightings that came from Chicago went directly to MUFON. And MUFON refused to look into the sightings. They did a cursory, type of investigation where they wanted the witnesses to come forward with their name and all their other information. And these people just were not going to do that. And they would eventually find us, and then they tell us about it. We've had to hunt down a few MUFON people who had reported to the MUFON CMS several times to find them, and we've been successful in doing it. Well, let's put it this way: the people that work in Chicago on our team have been very successful at doing that. So yeah, so MUFON, if that's MUFON's attitude, that's fine with me. But no, I tell you, we go through all aspects of what we consider the paranormal, everything, and even David Eckhart, who's been with me now for over a decade, he was turned down by MUFON because he was having alien encounters, and they didn't even want to hear about it, and they never sent anybody out to him. Then, of course, when I get the case and start getting out there, now they're interested, and this is what they do. This is exactly what they do when they feel like they're being snubbed, that they're losing some type of publicity, or they're getting told that why are you not looking into this? Then they will do a cursory type of investigation, but very, very rarely do they follow through. And in fact, they do a lot of bad mouthing too. I have gotten a lot of grief from MUFON over the years.
Well, when Steve Hudgens made that comment about no paranormal in MUFON, apparently this was at the state directors meeting the day before the conference started, and apparently the state directors went haywire over this, and there was a lot of people pissed off about this one guy's opinion becoming fact and becoming law. And that's nothing against Steve Hudgens. It's just you can't. The one thing that I've learned in this field, Lon, and I don't want to harp on MUFON too hard here, but the one thing that I have learned about this field is the people who continue to segregate the phenomena from paranormal to consciousness to cryptids to UFOs and aliens and near-death experiences and everything in between really are holding back the field, because the field in the last 5 years has advanced so much so that it's not a rarity to be covering all aspects of the phenomena rather than just certain points. With 90 seconds to go, Lon, I mean, how do we get these people out there, whether it's Steve Hudgens or Jack and Jill Smith, who are running a paranormal team down in Texas? How do we get all of these people to realize this is more than just a little piece of the puzzle?
I believe that most MUFON members and field investigators, and especially those that I know of and believe the same way I do. They're not going to limit themselves to just lights in the sky. If there's other things involved with it, they're going to make a note of it. Now, when they put their report into MUFON, they may not mention it, but they're going to make note of it. And when I do talk to these people, and Butch was the same way when Butch was talking to other, and look, he had a network all over the country, and there's a lot of weird stuff that goes on. That's why Butch got involved with the cryptid canines, because he realized very early when he and I started looking at this together that there could very well be a connection with ufology as far as these beings, and just like what people connect Bigfoot and even just alien beings or ultra-terrestrials and such, there is a distinct connection. And limiting your investigations because a governing agency wants to keep it cut and dry is just not good. That just is not going to fly.
Lon Strickler and Strange Days here on Spaced Out Radio. We'll get into the monster talk in the second half hour, which comes on right after this break. Stay tuned. Spaced Out Radio with Lon Strickler continues right after this. All right, we're clear, my man. That was a quick half hour. Already 200 people watching. That's pretty good for a start.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Well,
I'll take that.
I'm happy to say some of your folks have been coming over to my YouTube show, so I'm glad for that. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Everybody should. Everybody, if you're a fan of ours, you need to go support Lon Strickler and Phantoms and Monsters on YouTube. You have to. Yeah. I got a nice shout out the other day. My good buddy Nelson Dellis, who's the 5-time United States memory champion. I follow this magician named Chris Ramsey, and Nelson's pretty good friends with him. Thank you, Blue Jersey, for that amazing super chat. Anyways, Chris has... How the hell do you spell Jersey? There you go. Chris, anyways, has... I signed up watching him when he was at maybe 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. Today, he's at like 6.45 million. And just making just a boatload of money. Anyways, well, you know, the guy is just an amazing talent. Anyways, he actually, they have their own podcast, which is called Bottom of the Barrel. And he was actually quoting us that he was listening to us on Spaced Out Radio about a week ago, checking out something about UFOs or something like that. So it was nice to get a shout out on that. I really appreciated that. You know, I still geek out.
It's nice to get people that come over and watch you. I get a lot of folks who come over here when I'm on here with you, and I get a lot of good comments about your show all the time.
You know what I always wonder? I don't know if you wonder. My biggest curiosity sometimes, and I don't know, because you know a lot of people will use hidden names or whatever, and I'm okay with that. But I often wonder, sitting here right now, how many famous, like what I would consider famous people, have tuned into the show?
I think you'd be surprised.
I think so
you'd be
too.
Surprised, yeah. I personally know of a lot of celebrities that watch YouTube a lot. I got a few celebrity friends, and they all watch YouTube all the time. So I think you'd be surprised.
Yeah, I always wonder that. Who's watching, who's tuned in, and is there some rock star about to go on stage right now, in a few minutes, but first he's got to catch the first half hour of Spaced Out Radio. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that would be cool.
Or one of my many Hollywood crushes, checking out Davey just to see how good he's looking today. I always wonder this. I do.
Yeah, but they do. I mean, when they're sitting at home, they're just like us. I mean, they're scrolling YouTube. I mean, I scroll YouTube 90% of the time. My TV watching, scrolling YouTube. And,
what are you watching these days? What are you watching these days on YouTube?
Well, mostly political stuff for the most part. Do with the war But I tell you, there's a lot of things nature-wise I'm interested in, just like building ponds and fishing and stuff. I watch all that, and I watch a lot of it, but I do watch a lot of shows too. I mean, I watch a lot of paranormal shows, and I get a lot of good information and stuff on these, and
You know what I've been watching, and I don't know why, but it just enthralls me. There's this two things that I'm watching recently. These dudes who catch these like 300-400 pound bluefin tunas, then take them into a restaurant and watching the chefs like carve up this tuna. I'm just enthralled by it. They're using like 4-foot sword type knives. I'm enthralled by it. The other one too is out of China, where this old guy, he's got to be at least 140. He literally is like like trimming the hooves of donkeys. And I don't know why that it just watching him go. It's amazing. It's primitive and amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you to the chatters. Here we go with the second half hour. Second half hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. Very much appreciate you tuning us on in. Want to remind you that if you missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor. Hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire. Check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. We continue on tonight with Lon Strickler's Strange Days. Lon comes in each and every month to hang on out with us, talk about the monsters that are among us. And apparently there has been quite an uptick, as you were saying, Lon, about these bipedal canines, hairy werewolves, whatever you want to call them. They are out there and they are running around and people are seeing them.
Yeah, it's been pretty busy. I've been kind of surprised how busy it has been. Of course, you know, you've got a lot of people out now after the COVID thing. They're out there doing things they used to do before. And I don't know if these creatures, you know, had made themselves more, you know, have been out there more because there have been less people in the woods and such as before, but they're seeing them. And right now, I got them. It's either 4 or I might even have 5 right now, but of bipedal cases I've had in Pennsylvania that we're still working on.
What are people seeing, Lon?
Well, we've got one. The one that, well, for the most part, what people are seeing are regular, you know, people just think of werewolves, something that looks like that. But we're getting a lot of varieties lately.
Yeah.
We had the one up in at French Creek, which is near Birdsboro, where Butch used to have his investigation area. That thing, it was tall, very long, clawed feet and hands, had a head like a dog-like head, but it had markings like that of hyenas. And we have had a lot of these hyena-like looking beings. Even though this was a biped, it's had that look to it. I don't believe it had a tail, if I remember right. Now, because this sighting was so unusual, I've even asked another investigator who I'm very friendly with, from Eric Mentel from over at Bucks County Paranormal. He's involved with that. I've got some of my investigators involved with this. So we're just trying to get our times together so we can go out there and look. But apparently, from the witnesses telling me that there have been other people who have come to him saying they've seen the same thing. So there's something out there, and it's got some really weird characteristics. They've seen this thing up hunting birds and animals up in the trees. It's jumping out of trees and landing on all fours and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. And this is on the side of a quarry, actually. This thing is, there's a big quarry in French Creek, and that's where this thing has been seen. So, but it's got very distinct canine description to it, aspects to it. Well, there's another one that it's an older report from about a year ago where we've had sightings before in the Doylestown, Pennsylvania area, which is Bucks County, where this thing, it's kind of it does quadruped. It's a quadruped and an upright, and it's very wolf-like looking. And it's very similar to some of the other upright canine sightings that we have been looking at since 2013. We got an older sighting from up in Dauphin County, just west of Harrisburg. Not too. I don't think it's really that far from the Appalachian Trail, but we're looking into that. And then we've got a sighting up in Somerset County as well. It's a sighting that took place about 6 months ago, but our investigators are still out there gathering evidence. So right now, those are the 4 we're looking at. But there are some others. There's some other reports that we've received that we need to go out and get more evidence. We can only be stretched out so much, and but Pennsylvania has really gotten active all around. Now we're not getting a whole lot of Bigfoot sightings this year, though. I think some of the investigators out in Western Pennsylvania have been getting Bigfoot sightings. The winged humanoid sightings, the winged being sightings have not been coming through that heavy. Is it because of the weather? Because it's been very hot around here, as in most parts of the country. So I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, it's been busy.
What do you think is the uptick on everything? Is it people going back outside or paying more attention, or are these creatures becoming more prevalent?
I think for the most part, people are more aware of it, but there are more people out there. Even though during the COVID period and the lockdown, people still weren't going outside that much, and I could tell by the lack of reports I was getting. But I think more people are out there, and I think it's resulting in more sightings.
Yeah. The one thing that I don't understand about all these bipedal canine or dogman reports is how that number one, they're popping up everywhere, Lon. 3 years ago, you didn't hear about dogman in British Columbia. And now I'm hearing reports all over the place in British Columbia. I haven't heard about Washington State. I haven't heard about, Oregon or California, but I know in British Columbia, it's starting. Montana, it's starting. Idaho, it's starting. And the other thing,
I just sent you a report today.
Yeah. The other thing too that is tripping me out is these hyena-like ones, these werewolf-like ones, these Rottweiler faces on these. I mean, all of a sudden we're getting a bunch of these different breeds happening.
Mm-hmm.
Now, granted, more sightings, more chance of things to go on. But are you surprised that there's so many different breeds now which seem to be coming out?
When it comes to the paranormal and cryptids, nothing surprises me anymore. We always get variations of these things eventually. That's just the nature of the beast, I guess you want to call it. We do get a lot of. Somebody's asked, has Lon still got the black cat? Yeah, he's around here somewhere. Vinny. But no, they I'm not surprised by variations. I mean, in any cryptids, it does happen. If you're involved with an investigation for so long, and people are continuously coming forward to tell you about these, there are variations. Now, granted, some of these variations have been pretty interesting, to say the least. Even Butch used to comment on this fact that we were getting these hyena-like beings. That was starting to manifest in the past 4 or 5 years, and now we're getting a lot of these sightings just by markings, type of spotted markings. But many of the quadrupeds would come up with the slope backs and kind of hyena type features to them. I don't know. I really don't know why that's happening, but I don't believe it's something new. I think it's something that's been out there, but it's just people haven't been seeing them or reporting them.
Or is it that they're actually, well, two things. Number one, cell phone cameras are getting better, very much better than what they were 2, 3 years ago. But number two, that people, knowing that there's an opportunity to see these, that they're actually taking the time to have a look at what it actually looks like, rather than just saying it looked like a werewolf and I didn't catch really what the face was looking like. But now people are actually paying attention.
Yeah, I'm encouraged by people actually being cognizant of having the cell phones and being able to take the photographs. You know, there's so many times when we've had reports where people just fail to do that by the shock and such. You know, now if you get a fleeting sighting, which is what's going on in Chicago, it's kind of hard to grab your phone, get it in focus, and get a picture of something. But when you got something right in front of you or at a distance to where you can easily take the time to do that, you know, once you get your head together and decide that you're going to grab the phone, yeah, it'd be nice to start getting decent photographs. And hopefully that's going to start showing up. You know, just say people start wearing these GoPros or these other type of cameras more often when they go out. Maybe we'll get lucky. You know, maybe somebody will really come up with an amazing video or an amazing image at some point. But you know, as time has gone by, we are getting better at it. There are more and more Bigfoot sightings and videos and images that are showing up. So some are questionable, but we are getting some that are very decent and make you think that, yeah, there's something else. There is something out there and that people are seeing them.
We've got a lot of time to talk about this, but I've never asked you this question, you know, and that is, we rarely ever hear of these reports, lots of rumors, but reports about dogmen killing someone. Have you ever heard about this?
Yeah, I've heard a few. They're hard to, but you know, it's a lot of hearsay stuff. I guess when it, you know, I don't know. You hear a lot of things. I haven't really found a report that I can actually put my thumb on and say, yeah, that actually happened. There are older reports that maybe it happened at some point. Same goes with Bigfoot. I mean, there have been cases where people say that, you know, a Bigfoot has attacked and killed someone, and it's usually an older case. So there's no way of finding out anything unless it's been reported to the police and there's a record of it. Somebody just mentioned the LBL case. I don't know if that's even true. I've looked into that case. I don't know if I really don't know if that's something that was caused by a cryptid or not. Maybe it could have been even just a regular animal, a wolf or a cat or something. But yeah, you hear a lot of things.
And I understand that and I get that, but you know, I mean, even with Sasquatch, we don't hear, you know, you hear all these reports that people have shot at it and dropped them. I don't buy it. You hear all these. I think no, don't get me wrong. I do think hunters have shot at it, maybe and maybe hit it, and that's what's caused a lot of furor, much like what we saw at Mount St. Helens in the 1930s. You know, at Ape Canyon there. But for the most part, you know, I don't really buy a lot of these stories where people say that people were killed by this thing or they killed them. I mean,
I hear more accounts of people shooting at these things and it either going right through them or they just walk away as opposed to attacking someone.
Yeah. And that's what I'm trying to get at, you know, just in regards to the whole aspect of these rumors that are going around, because, you know, hey, I'm just as much as anybody else. I want to see a body. I want to see it shown. But I mean, there's reality to this too, though, isn't there?
Oh yeah. No, I don't advocate anybody going out there and actually hunting for one of these things, and I really don't advocate anybody shooting one. I mean, I've had a close encounter with one of these beings, and I'll be honest with you, unless I felt threatened, I was probably more shocked than anything. But if I had a gun, I wouldn't have took a shot at it. I mean, this thing looked more human to me than anything else. And so I that's got to, I imagine that crosses people's minds if that's the instance. But as far as the dogman sightings, these things are pretty huge, and they're terrifying, and they hold their ground. I only know one person who ever took a shot at one of them, and that, what happened was this thing got hit and just turned around and walked away. And no, there's a lot of aspects to this. I mean, people talk about infrasound and mind speak, and these things get in their heads and tell them just to back away. And I hear that a lot. And I think there is something to that. I think, I don't, there may have been instances where people were killed, but my God, I just don't really have the proof or any, I've seen the proof to even say that actually happened.
Yeah. And what do you think about all this mind speak? I mean, is this just fear and imagination that people are hearing? Because I could see it, I want it to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Telepathy is something that very much intrigues me, Lon.
Mm-hmm.
And it really, I want it to happen. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if it's happened to me or not, but when I hear the stories of people saying, hey, I had this dog man lined up with my rifle, and all of a sudden I got this telepathic message saying, you better not do that, otherwise it's going to make for a bad day. I want to believe that, Lon. I am like at the 98.9% of believing it, but the skeptic in me says that 0.01% is like, come on, man, wake up, but a lot of people claim on this telepathy from these creatures.
Oh, I think it does happen. I've heard enough of it and I've talked to enough people to believe that it does happen. The means by which they deliver this, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what abilities, and they definitely have some type of ability to do that. I think they have abilities to do a lot of things. I mean, my thoughts on this. I believe that cryptids, for the most part, are ultra-terrestrial. Sure, they're indigenous beings up in your neck of the woods, and down in Florida and other places. But I think for the most part, what people are seeing are ultra-terrestrial beings that are able to move between dimensions. And if they can do that, why couldn't they have some ability to mind speak or to communicate with someone without talking to them?
Do you think then that this is happening a lot more frequently than what we think?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I think most people wouldn't even consider coming forward with something like that.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Why would you think that?
Because people are, any basic person who doesn't know a thing about cryptids or the paranormal, and they're out in the woods and they have an encounter and this thing's speaking to them, they're not going to go home and tell people that, well, I had a Bigfoot talk to me, and you're not going to hear a lot about that. They may come forward a little bit later, but rarely will they come forward at the time.
So for people who are experiencing this telepathy, how do they know that, they should be listening to it? Like I said, I've never experienced that. I don't know what it's like. I don't know what it's all about. But, I sure as hell know that if I'm getting a scary impression of something, that I should probably pay attention.
Mm-hmm. I think just like what I've been saying a lot of times about cryptid encounters, I think certain people are susceptible or perceptive of receiving either signals or even sightings of these beings. Since I've been involved with the Chicago Mothman or Chicago winged humanoid, I think that these creatures do have the ability to distinguish who can see them or not. because they've been in crowds where certain people see them and others just don't see them at all. I think that goes for most cryptids. I think, there's another phenomenon, and Stan Gordon and I have talked about this in recent years. There have been more sightings in the period of time where someone will see a Bigfoot and the Bigfoot will look at them like they're surprised they're being seen. For some reason, it seems like they believe that they cannot be seen. And then they just literally either run away so quickly and disappear, but they react to it. And I get more of that. I really do. Even with upright canines. I mean, I get that as well, where people just get that look and they see these creatures indicate, somebody's looking right at them and reacting to it. And they just get that look like, So who's to say that they don't use some type of communication as some type of defensive ability?
What about cloaking?
Well, I think cloaking is very possible. We've been talking about this Glimmerman effect for a while now. It was pretty convenient when all this started coming out in the Predator series with that alien cloaking into the Glimmerman or glassine effect. But people have been seeing that. I mean, some fairly well-known researchers and investigators have seen this phenomenon. And I think they really do have the ability to do something like that. Either cloak in that manner or cloak some other way, or just simply disappear or duck into a portal or such. But I think they do have those abilities.
A lot of people say that Sasquatch, dogmen, these creatures may have hair, much like deer, moose, cattle, which is hollow. Mm-hmm. And that way it allows when the animal turns in different directions, it reflects and refracts light in order to camouflage it. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you've seen a moose or a deer, with just behind a few trees. I have, where my buddy Mark, I remember we were driving down one of these logging roads. And he says, "Oh, there's a moose." And I'm looking at the same trees and I'm like, where? I don't see it. And it wasn't until I saw a branch move that I actually saw the moose.
Yeah.
And, I'm wondering, do you buy into the fact that maybe that they have hollow hair, which is why they can handle the environments as well as maybe reflecting and refracting light?
I've received reports like that, where someone has come across a Bigfoot-like creature, and it will step into the sunshine and just literally disappear. They'll be in a wooded area where there's some light coming in, but they'll be in the dark area and step into a sun ray and just literally vanish. I've heard that theory before, and honestly, it could be possible. I believe. I know what you're saying about deer. I've had that effect happen to me while hunting deer. They just sometimes seem to just literally disappear at some point. And, is it the lights? Is that the dynamic that causes that? Is it because of the hair? I guess it's possible.
Either way, I mean, nature does its best to give animals the upper hand. We do know that.
Yeah, absolutely.
It really does. Lon Strickler and Strange Days here, hour 1 wrapping up. We have Lon for an extended program tonight. He'll be with us until halfway point of hour number 3. So we've got lots of time for your questions, lots of time for some great information. When we return, we'll hit Lon up with your questions, as well as some of the recent stories at phantomsandmonsters.com. Our good friend Lon Strickler and Strange Days continues on Spaced Out Radio right after this. That was quick. Mm-hmm. Quick first hour. All right, Dirty Filth. Lon and I are taking a break here. The camera is on you, my man.
Oh, you're gonna have to speak up. I'm wearing a towel.
All right, come on, show us that towel. You probably velcroed to your chest right now, wishing it was Nick Pope's hairdo.
Oh, jeez.
I'll be right back.
Well, that was a pretty quick. Yes, Blob. It was a pretty quick first hour there. I discovered a website that has random, weird, strange cryptids I never heard of before, so I'm drawing one of them tonight. Well, at least ones that I haven't heard of. And I can't view my legs because the blob is piled on top of my legs. Unbelievable cats, I tell you. Oh, let's put that a little closer, I guess. Everything's backwards. Oh, yeah. It's the Beast of Beckley. I believe that's in West Virginia. Let me check my notes here. Yes. Beckley, West Virginia. West Virginia. And apparently it was some creature that some kids seen that was in their mother's flower garden. And yes, that's right, Blob. And couldn't really see much of the legs. You can only see the upper half of it. Apparently had 4 glowing red eyes and some sharp teeth. So I figured he's in the flower garden. Probably likes flowers. And I could easily copped out and not drawn any feet or legs, but I don't like doing that because if you're going to draw the entire body, you got to draw the feet and legs and the hands because that's some of the most difficult parts to draw. And after I watched this video of Stan Lee make fun of these guys for not drawing proper feet on their characters, and I was like, yeah, but Stan Lee always draw feet on his characters. So I went and looked at a bunch of his artwork. And, oh, how about that? Not a bunch of hands or not a bunch of feet in a lot of his work. Hides it all behind rubble and stuff like that. So I always make sure that I put my hands and feet out there. But that's just a personal thing. Also because it's always good to develop some of the worst things to draw with your hands and feet. They're absolutely painful to draw. So that's why I keep doing them. So I can eventually get better at them and then not have to worry about it. Bob just passed right out now. Making grunting noises. Oh boy, now Whiskey's gonna come upstairs. It's an onslaught of cats this time of hour. Isn't that right, Bob? Actually, she's not really fat anymore, so we'd have to just call her Bob, basically. She used to be the size of a football. Flying pot plants. Well, that could be a cryptid, I guess. Probably make anything into a cryptid at this point in time. I'm sorry, I don't look at the chat room enough when I'm drawing this stuff because otherwise I'm just going to like color right through the line and oh boy. See, this is where I could use a clone would be really good. And the clone could be like, hey, dirty filth. People are asking these questions. But then when they ask questions, just go into this long-winded rant about something. Like somebody asked what my favorite song was, and I just started rambling. It was like 10 minutes later, and yeah, that's their own fault.
You did the sketches on Butch, didn't you?
I did, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
There's one on Dave's counter up above his right shoulder, or his counter. His wall.
I saw. They're pretty cool.
Yeah, I just that day when Dave told everybody in the group chat about that, I was like, oh man, that sucked because I was like listening to Butch and so I didn't even think about it. I just sat down and I just started drawing. And that's what came out. The one where he's,
well, I will tell you, Butch appreciated those.
That's cool. I'm glad to know that. And it was just about the time I was like doing a lot more drawing for Spaced Out Radio, and we were kind of talking about getting me to come on and draw during the show or during the breaks or whatever, and I would have been cooler along with Butch, but that's okay.
Yep. That is the most important one to me that you've ever done, man.
I know it crushes you, Dave, but I still love you anyway.
Still crushes me. Still crushes me, but that's okay. Hey, we got 235 people watching right now. If we could get all of you or the majority of you to give us a thumbs up or thumbs down or a thumb sideways, and if you haven't hit subscribe yet, please do us the favor and hit subscribe and ring that bell. We are very much all about trying to hit our algorithms and make our show more popular online. It would really help us out. We'd appreciate each and every one of them, as well as whatever you feel. The super chat is open. A big thank you so far to Lala, Bob, Cat Chaser, Blue Jersey, Ed, See How, and YJ for the amazing super chats. It's a great way to support what we do on a nightly basis. I love V-Love. You're looking gorgeous tonight. And, of course, you can do some shopping at spacedoutradio.com. Here we go with hour 2.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Here we go with hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. Very much appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on Odyssey Radio, TalkStream Live, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Yook. Yook is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets a password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. We continue on tonight with Strange Days. Our main man, Lon Strickler from phantomsandmonsters.com, is here to help us on out, to break down all the monster questions we have. Bigfoot, Dogman, Mothman, aliens, UFOs, ghosts, you name it. Lon is on it. Phantomsandmonsters.com, once again, is the website. Lon, welcome back.
Thanks for having me, Dave.
Before we get to some audience questions, you recently, as of today, you put up a new report of an unknown malevolent entity flying through walls and terrorizing witnesses down in South Carolina. What happened here, man?
I don't know. That was pretty wild. I don't know what he experienced. He thinks it was a demon. I don't know what it was. He never got a look at it. He was so scared. He was in bed and he had the windows open, but this thing actually came through the wall. He heard it outside because the windows were all open. It was the middle of summer. He had no air conditioning. And he heard this thing buzzing. He said at first it sounded like a helicopter wing or helicopter, blades. But then he said it sounded like a cicada. And we all know what a cicada sounds like when it flies close to you. I mean, it's a bizarre sound. But apparently this thing came through the wall. And the temperature in the room went from like 85 degrees to like 40 degrees altogether. I mean, suddenly. And it really frightened him. And he pulled the covers over his head. He said the thing was flying above him. He could hear it. And then it went up to the corner of the room and took a nosedive into him. And he said it went into him. So I don't know what this thing was, but it was in him for a bit, and then it went, it came out and took off. So I mean, I had no idea what it was, but I thought it was interesting. So maybe we have a cicada demon or something. I don't know.
Cicada demons. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we need now is cicada demons or cicada aliens now. I mean, hey, we've got mantids, so why not cicadas?
Absolutely.
Coming up from the ground every 5 years or whatever their term is. But coming out of the ground to haunt you. That's definitely what it is.
Well, sometimes this thing, when some of their hatches, we have them every 17 years here. Of course, we have the like 13 and 5-year intervals. But man, I tell you, this last time wasn't bad. But I remember back in '87, we had a hatch. Oh my God, I can't believe that was amazing how much it was just the sky and everywhere around there's a damn cicada. It was awful.
Wow. I was in Pennsylvania during one of the hatches.
Were you?
Back in when was that? About 2012 or somewhere like that. 2010.
Yeah.
And those things are loud, man. Holy cow, are those things loud. But kind of cool.
They get up there in the trees and start putting their mating sounds out. Oh, it's terrible.
You know what? We have these little black flies that just hatch. They're called no-see-ums.
Mm-hmm.
And they can fly like right through a screen. You don't even worry about the screen, because it ain't blocking them. And literally the other day I was pretty tired after work. I decided before the show I'd take a nap, put my head down. I had like 50 of them buzzing around my face. And I'm just like, you sons of, flies, but I mean, hey, whatever floats their boat. When you live in nature, you got to expect some of that every hour. The no-see-ums, I've eaten, the count is at 5 now per eating them during the show. You don't hear it, but they're so small, they have no taste.
Right.
But the count is up to 5 now. So I want to ask you, the reason why I brought up that report is this whole going through walls. We hear of ghosts doing this, aliens doing this. I mean, how do you think that these creatures are able just to go through brick walls or cement walls or wooden walls or in the case of the 3 little pigs, hay walls, I mean, they just seem to be able to go through everything.
If it's a solid being, if it's an ethereal being, I think it requires some type of vibration equilibrium. They've got to match their vibration with the object they're going through somehow. I mean, that's been the theory as to why certain alien beings can do that. I think that now for non-ethereal, for spirits or manifestations, who knows how they do it. I don't even know if they go through from top to bottom or inside to outside. I think they just manifest a lot of times looking like they're going through a wall, or they just form outside of a wall looking like they're going through a wall. But if it's solid, it's going to have to be some type of equilibrium with the object to be able to do that.
You'd have to think, because I mean, when you get these how can I put it, these people who claim that they have been able to go through walls on their own when they're being taken, I mean, that's some stunning physics right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think there's something like that has to occur. I've talked to several researchers about that over the years, people who have even experiencers. And, that for the most part, that's what they believe happens, that they're affected somehow by these beings, and that they somehow, match their vibration with the vibration of the material they're going through, and they're able to do it. So, you're talking about way beyond what we can comprehend at this point.
Yeah, just absolutely amazing. Let's go to a few audience questions here. Let's start off with Raz. Energy frequencies are rising all over the planet through psychic groups growing. What's your opinion on this?
It might be. It might be. There's a lot of energy out there coming from a lot of different sources. Psychic groups, possibly. I think it may actually happen. There are a lot of people putting a lot out there. I have talked to people, even people in my group, who say that the energy, even though it grows and wanes back and forth, but if there's an event, say there's a worldwide event, just say like 9/11, okay, there is a definite increase of energy because of people either producing it unintentionally or actually putting it out there. I think an event like that will really do that. More people, and we know more people are thinking about unexplained phenomena, are coming forward and talking about remote viewing and psychic abilities and doing other things using their mind. That energy goes somewhere. Is it accumulating somewhere? I don't know, but it's around, and I think overall proliferation of energy is increasing.
All right, let's continue on here. YJ is asking, Lon, in your opinion, is the dogman the same thing as maybe Skinwalkers?
No, they're entirely different. Of course, the Skinwalker, and I think you had William Nighthawk on recently. The Skinwalker is a black witch, a Navajo black witch for the most part, that has the ability to transform into another being. Many times they do use the pelts of a coyote or maybe a wolf or something to do the imitation, but the dogmen are not that. These are, I think, the dogmen are actual creatures. Now, could they be solid flesh and blood creatures? Sure. Could they be supernatural creatures? Absolutely. They could be both. But no, the Skinwalker is an actual flesh and blood being. It's a human phenomena. It's a magical phenomena.
Park over on our Facebook chat is asking, Lon, what do you think about the recent incursion of really weird creatures that just should not be?
Well, I think we're getting more creatures because more people are reporting them. I believe a lot of this phenomena has been around, but people are just coming forward now, and I think it's going to continue. I think we're going to be getting a lot more weird stuff that we just can't explain, or things that just have never been reported before. That's my only explanation. I just think more people are out there seeing it, experiencing it, and then taking the initiative to come forward and report it. And I don't think people are as afraid of being ridiculed as they did before. But again, many of the witnesses or experiencers do request confidentiality, and of course we're definitely willing to do that.
Right. Okay. Let's continue on here, and let's go back to Raz, who is asking, scientific mindset, Lon, do you think they are set for allowing more open-minded folks to see more?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. Scientific parameters were set a long time ago, but I think it's becoming more relaxed. I think people who are open-minded, and even a lot of researchers who were just strictly scientific, are more open-minded to some of the phenomena that's going on. the just like the Beast of Bray Road, people, Linda Godfrey contended that was a non-supernatural being at one point, but now, as time had gone on, she recognized that there's something else involved with that, and it happens with other creatures as well, other cryptids. More and more Bigfoot researchers, investigators are actually believing that there's something different other than it being a large hairy hominid that's running around and that is occasionally seen. Some people are being more open-minded about its actual existence. I mean, not that it isn't there, but it does have abilities to either cloak itself, move in and out of dimensions, supernatural abilities. And I think they're allowing for more open-minded people, more open-minded folks now, and and I can see that in the reports as well.
Let's continue on here with some audience questions for Lon Strickler tonight. Northern California is asking, Lon, any thoughts or theories about why Mothman frequents the Chicago O'Hare Airport?
Yeah, I think there's a portal there, if not two or more. There's something about that airport that's conducive to these portals being there that we haven't figured out. But I think that is one location where they do come into our Earth plane. I'm not saying there aren't other places. We're just not getting a lot of reports. We've been getting a lot of reports in a location near that location, and they may very well be coming from the same portal. But I think they are portal travelers from a linear dimension to our dimension, and I think that's what's going on. We've had lesser and lesser sightings outside of the city or outside of the Chicago metro area in the past year or so. We're getting much more sightings around the airport in areas around the airport. So, yeah, I think that's the reason why. There's something about that airport.
Yeah, and you brought up the whole idea of portals again, and so many people are starting to investigate portals and what they see. I know Jessica Jones, the cryptid huntress, her Bigfoot team, a few months ago came across what they believe was a portal that was in the shape of a cube in the middle of a forest, down in Georgia, where there shouldn't have been anything. How much more serious do we have to start getting into looking into these portals?
That's a good question. I guess we got to go ahead and just give it time for people to gradually accept the idea that may very well be going on. It wasn't something I really looked at years ago, but as time has gone on, I've come to that conclusion that cryptids are portal travelers, and for the most part. I mean, of course, they're indigenous beings as well, but for the most part, they're portal travelers. It's interesting. I've got a pretty large team at Fans of Monsters Fortean Research, and we have a varied opinions about all this within the group. And I like that because I want everybody to be able to give their own impression of things. But even just talking to a few of them, some of them have turned around as well to believe that, there's something really strange about all these, the way these sightings turn up, the way they disappear, and why they are in one location where if they were there all the time, they would be seen all the time. So, yeah.
Well, do you believe then that these portals are one of these issues as to why people are just vanishing? I think, more
Yeah.
people everywhere are catching on to the work of and reports of David Politis, the work you and Butch did on the Todd Seas case. We look at Steve Stockton and Missing Persons Mysteries on YouTube, where he brings up strange cases of people just vanishing out of nowhere or into nowhere. I mean, this is just seeming to be getting a little ridiculous, man.
When David Pilates first started coming forward with his theories about the missing individuals in the national parks and such, I first thought, well, maybe there's a Bigfoot or they're being abducted or something. That's the first thing I thought. But as time is going on, and I've read more and more into these sighting reports, and people have sent things to me, I think that portals can just open up, or people can inadvertently walk in through them and just suddenly disappear. Be moved to another part of the park, someplace else, or just come back. I mean, I think it's absolutely possible. So yeah, I think a lot of what's being experienced by these people who reported in the missing 411, I think portals may be the cause of a lot of this.
And, my big theory on it, I'm curious of what you think. I truly believe that these portals, when a person goes into them, everything is what it was on the other side for them. So, for instance, if you and I are hanging out, and you walk into a portal, you're gone on my side, but on your side, I'm still there. Everything is continuing as normal.
Mm-hmm.
What's your thoughts on that theory?
I think that these inadvertent portals, not like what's going on in Chicago, but these inadvertent portals in different locations may actually be crossways into alternate realities. In other words, it looks very much similar to where you came from, but the whole aspect, the whole time period and everything has changed. A glitch. And I think that's what most portals are. I'm not saying that every portal is the dimensional portal. I think many of them may very well be some type of glitch where it goes into another reality. I think just like Earth itself, I think we live on an Earth that has multitudes of realities to it. So that whole concept is foreign to me, but some of the things I've heard over the years and talked to people about, you just got to wonder if that's not what's really going on. Because I have talked to people who have gone through what they've said of going through a portal, and they say they go to an area, it looks just like it was where they came from, but there's just something different about it. The whole energy feels different. And many times they can go through it and step back out of it, but other times they're there and they're gone for a while, then they somehow come back at another location. I don't know how do you explain that.
That's eerie, because that almost sounds like when you hear these people who astral travel,
Mm-hmm.
but they come back and they're completely different, and you hear these stories about other spirits taking over the empty body because the soul is out astral traveling. I mean, that kind of weirds me out that way. But Lon, we're going to get to more audience questions when we return on Spaced Out Radio. We have Lon Strickler for another hour here on the Mighty SOR, talking all sorts of monsters and legends and everything that goes on in between, because that's what we love to do around here on this show, is freak you out a little bit. We're going to take more audience questions, get to more interesting topics. Do you believe in portals? I do. We'll be back with more Spaced Out Radio when we return right after this. All right, we're clear. Love the portal talk. Love portals. that is one of the things that just completely, excuse me, completely interests me.
Well, there's something going on. There's no doubt about it. I mean, you remember that show that was out years ago called Fringe?
Yes. I never saw it, but I remember the name.
I think that show got a lot of people thinking about alternate realities. There was another show recently. Oh God, what was it called? I forget the name of it. But anyway, there've been shows like that. But I think a lot of what was incorporated in the TV show may very well be true to some degree. And you talked about Jessica Jones and the square-like phenomena that she saw that you could walk through. I think that may very well be what that is, because I think portals, like dimensional portals, are somewhat invisible. I think some people can detect them, but these glitch portals where they go into an alternate reality, I think for the most part you can see those. I think they have that glimmer effect to them. So, and I think that's how you can detect them.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I really don't know. They just kind of bug me in a good way.
The show was Counterpart. That was the other show. My friend just told me. Yeah, it's weird. I'm getting comments about Filth's watercolors too.
Oh yes, good old Dirty Filth. Let's zoom in on him here, like this, and oh, look at those nice, delicate petals he's drawing right there. You're so delicate, Dirty Filth. He's concentrating. The Beast of Beckley. Oh, nothing frightening about that. Phil's played in the background. His music. My little buttercup has the cutest smile. Cute little buttercup, won't you stay a while? Come on. One of the greatest movies ever. The Three Amigos. All right. GTO Dave, how you doing, man? All right. We've got about 90 seconds here, boss.
Okay.
Hey, gorgeous Aunt Edna. What's happening? Yeah, beautiful voice, Dave. Thank you. I'll take that as an insult tonight. Gee whiz. Oh. Mm-hmm. Just gonna... All right, I want to say a big thank you to Stephen in the UK, YJ, See How, Ed, Blue Jersey, Cat Chaser, Science Bob, and Lala for the amazing super chats tonight. Very much appreciate the love. Thank you to everybody so far who's given us a thumbs up or thumbs down. If you can do that, it really helps our algorithms out in becoming a little bit more popular on YouTube, which we're trying to do these days. So we appreciate it. If you're new, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, ring that bell. And we got lots of cool swag at spacedoutradio.com on our store. Just go to the shop section up top, and we got lots of cool items there for you. So check those on out. And we'll be ready to go here momentarily. We passed the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. Very much appreciate earning your listening ears. I want to remind you that if you missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives. YouTube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor. Hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. We continue on tonight with Strange Days with Lon Strickler from phantomsandmonsters.com. And we're going to start right off here, Lon, with some audience questions. As we continue on the night, we got them for another hour here on the Mighty SOR. Hilton is asking, Lon, do you have an opinion on the connections with the other big fellas like the Australian Yowie?
Now, when you mean connections, you mean connection with humans? Yeah, of course. I think
would
the
say,
Aborigines. You would say so?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think the Aborigines.
Oh, you go right ahead.
Have been connected to them through all these many eons. I have discussed the Yowie sightings with Australians before. I think for the most part, they may very well be indigenous beings as opposed to supernatural. I just think they're in an area where that they actually live at. I think they are different than Bigfoot or Sasquatch that we find here in the States or in North America or in Canada. That's about all I can say. I think there is a connection with the Aborigines, but I don't know. I don't know.
But everybody in every continent seems to have their own Sasquatch. You have the Yeti in Europe and Asia. You have, I forget what they're called in the jungles of Southeast Asia. The Yowie in Australia and Bigfoot up here, or Sasquatch, whatever you want to call them. And I mean, this is a creature that is literally seen everywhere on the planet, except for Antarctica.
Well, I think the sightings that we get in North America, for the most part, and sightings in England, UK, places where there's a lot of urban sprawl, but just outside those areas that these creatures are seen. I think there's a lot of supernatural beings that people are seeing. But areas like in Asia and China, Australia, I think there are more open areas that they may very well be indigenous beings.
Could very well be. All right, let's go to Cat Chaser. Hi, Lon. Have you ever heard anything lately about an association between Bigfoot and UFOs?
Well, there have been some cases out there. I mean, Stan Gordon's talked about the cases during the 1973 UFO flap, particularly in Pennsylvania. There were UFO and Bigfoot associations where a UFO would be seen possibly land and then the Bigfoot show up. Honestly, we really have not had a lot of those. I have heard of some supposed sightings like that. but other than hearsay, there's been no evidence of either. I mean, of course, all this is mostly hearsay. Most of it is all anecdotal, but it does occasionally pop up. We had the Presque Isle up near Erie, Pennsylvania, of the UFO sightings and the Bigfoot showing up. Those are probably the two most famous cases, and both being in Pennsylvania. Is that because it's a phenomenon seen in that area? I don't know. Maybe not. I've heard of some in down Virginia in the past, but as far as something recently, I haven't gotten anything like that.
All right, let's continue on here. Let's go to Davey, who is asking, are increasing sightings coming from the younger sector or older sector? That's actually a good question.
That is a good question. I would say it's kind of half and half. It's split. I got a lot of older folks who come forward with sightings they've had in the past, but have had encounters that are more recent. And it's the same with younger folks. Of course, they're more recent sightings of phenomena or encounters with phenomena. But no, I've got a pretty good mix of individuals, and it just doesn't have to do with age either. It's all levels of income, socioeconomic, But yeah, I mean, I don't really think it's an older, younger thing. I think as time has passed and people are more forward thinking, that they hear more. Of course, older folks are using the internet, and they see and hear things, and they get into the action as well. So yeah, I get it from all sides.
All right, let's continue on here. Lon Strickler, let's go to Greg here. He's asking, can dogmen run across gravel without making a sound?
I have no idea.
I actually like this question. It sounds like a silly question, but so many times, Lon, we hear of, Sasquatch going through rocky areas, absolutely silent,
Mm-hmm.
or crossing people's crushed gravel driveways without making a sound. And Lord knows that crushed gravel on bare feet does not feel good.
Mm-mm.
I mean, so I think there's a lot of relevancy to this one.
It could be. I just can't remember a report or offhand where I've heard anybody mentioning that they heard the sound of one of these things going through crushed gravel or through, I just can't recall anything like that.
How do you think these creatures adapt the way they step to be silent, where they can sneak up on you if you're camping or it seems like they can almost control the sound?
In some instances, I guess they can, but a lot of times people describe them hearing them coming, and it doesn't matter if it's mostly Bigfoot, but with a bipedal canine. A lot of people have said that they can hear something walking through the woods or coming towards their tent or wherever they're at. One funny or interesting phenomenon, it doesn't have to really do with sound. And I think this is something that humans do possess, that they have the ability of, they have an innate intuitive ability. And I think each one of us have that, where you just get that sense of that there's something watching me, there's something around me, or I'm sensing something around me. And many times they're correct. They don't see it, they don't hear it, but they feel it. And that does seem to happen a lot.
All right, let's continue on here with some questions from our audience. We got some good questions coming up for you. Tony in the UK is asking, Lon, what are your thoughts about the translucent tree predators or cream wrap creature, or is it possibly a Sasquatch?
Yeah, I think they may very well be Sasquatch. This phenomenon has come forward a lot in most recent years with the what they call the glimmer man or the glassine man phenomena. I think it's a kind of cloaking that they're able to use. Bruce Maccabee talked about it around his home, that he believed he had a Bigfoot that took this form as a cloak. And Bruce is a pretty straightforward guy. We've had our other researchers talk about it. J.C. Johnson used to talk about their cloaking, how they just suddenly would disappear. I have several people who have sent me reports. I even got one photograph of a glassine like being up in a tree from down in Oklahoma. So it does happen, and I do believe for the most part they are Sasquatch.
Interesting. Very interesting. All right, let's continue on. Pam here is asking, lots of us are dying from some firm cancer. Do you think it's related to the forgotten sightings of probably UFOs? I know this question's for Bob, but she put it in capital letters, so that's why we're asking.
It could be, but I don't know. I plead stupid on this one because I don't really know.
Well, I mean, a lot of people claim that they can, are having troubles if they are abductees or contactees, that they could be having troubles with radiation coming off of the craft. I know that sounds like a long stretch, Lon, but I mean, that's why a lot of people say if you see a UFO on the ground, don't go near it because you never know what the reaction to your body is going to be.
Well, there have been experiencers who have had physical either burns or some type of sickness when getting close to UFOs, or even to alien beings or something of that matter. Of course, the most famous is the Mahalik sighting up in Manitoba, where he was burned by getting close to the
Stefan Michalek.
Yeah, and I believe that was an absolutely true encounter. Oh yeah, I've heard others that have had that type, something happen to them, or they get sick, or they have some type of physical effects, even long term from that. Does it cause cancer? I don't know if there's any real proof of that, but it very well could. It was something due to radiation.
All right, let's go to Greg here. Do you receive any reports, Lon, on shadow dogs in Ohio?
I can't recall. We've had shadow beings. We've had possible upright canines or quadruped dogmen in Ohio. Shadow dogs, I don't know. Unless they were some type of manifestation. I mean, do you mean shadow dogs like shadow people in that same realm of beings? I'm saying, I don't say it's impossible. There very well could be. The shadow people, the shadow person, the shadow beings. I mean, could they come in the form of an animal or a dog? I think it's very possible. I don't believe they're human. I don't think they were human. I think they very well may be dimensional beings, or even some type of extraterrestrial. Any shadow being is a dangerous being, in my opinion. They're not there for good. I mean, they take life force. They feed off of dysfunction, tragedy. So, do they come in shadow form as a dog? I mean, or dog or animal form? I guess it's possible.
Could be. Could very well be. Let us go up to Barbara's question here. Lon, why do you think it's more difficult to get Dogman photographed than Bigfoot?
I don't know. all the photographs that we have gotten of dogman, I believe, for the most part, have been from trail cams. Here again, are we talking about infrasound or mind speak, disarming a witness from being able to take a photograph or to react somehow to this thing? May very well be. I think that may be, just like the Chicago winged humanoids. Many of those encounters, I have been told by the witnesses that, I'm disarmed somehow. I get weak. I don't even think about taking a photograph, if they walk up to one. And there have been instances where they've actually walked up to them and they become very weak. They stay weak for a matter of minutes until they regain their facilities. But I think that them and other beings do have these type of abilities. And I'm not saying that Bigfoot doesn't, but most Bigfoot sightings and photographs are at a distance. Do dogmen or do cryptid canines have an ability to project this at a distance? It's possible, I guess.
That would be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Would be very interesting. That's it, indeed. I think it also has to do with numbers. I believe there's more Sasquatch than there are dogmen. And I still think that there are areas. If we just leave it to North America, I do believe there are still areas that are uninhabited by the dogman. You don't hear reports coming out of, like I said earlier, California or Nevada or Arizona, right? You hear Sasquatch, but you don't hear dogman reports.
Right.
All right, let's continue on here. I know you're having fun with us here, Lon. We got about 7 minutes to go before we have to take a break here at the bottom of the hour. Let's go to Tony Harris. Lon, could Sasquatch be the real Earthlings and we are the alien created hybrids from them?
Wow, that's a loaded one. I suppose anything is possible. I'm going to answer this like Butch would answer it. I think anything is possible. But yeah, then again, it could be absolutely reversed. I mean, could Sasquatch be some type of creature that was manipulated and created by alien beings and that they evolved from us somehow? I don't know. I mean, that is a loaded question. I mean, I don't think man is an alien created hybrid. I think there has been I believe there has been evolution. But I think there has been intervention at some point as well. And with intervention, I don't just believe it has to do with humans themselves. I think it has to do with all types of creatures. Like I've said in my book, I think we're that grand experiment. And it's been a successful experiment for them. And I think even though a lot of people will deny it, I think we can be manipulated to a certain degree, and I think that may very well be what's going on, or has been going on.
Well, if the Greeks and the Ukrainians with our hairy bodies have anything to do with it, I'm pretty sure this could be a true statement.
It might be. It might be.
Holy cow. Yeah, hairy Greeks and hairy Ukrainians. They're out there, trust me. JCL Ohio. Lon, any recent reports about frogmen similar to what was reported in Loveland, Ohio in the 50s and 70s?
I haven't had a good Loveland sighting in a while. I have had a few. Every once in a while, somebody will see something out there in the little Miami River in Loveland, but I haven't recently. It's been a while. But there have been several sightings. I mean, even more recent sightings, but not real recently. Occasionally somebody will see something out there and say, that's the the Frogmen from from Loveland, since it's the Little Miami River. But you know what? That area, that whole river is weird anyway. There's a lot of weird stuff going on out there.
Ohio is weird in general.
Yeah, it is. It's got some weird areas. It's like Pennsylvania. I think almost every state has their weird areas. Their hot spots. But there's something about that Little Miami River that's weird. It's just not explainable. And I had talked to a woman years ago who owned property along that river, and she talked about Sasquatch showing up there and then seeing the frogmen and a bunch of other weird stuff, a lot of weird lights in the woods and such. So I think there's more there than just the frogmen.
Right. That's what interests me is, what, it's so much fun to have these Bigfoot dogman stories, but it's the weird creatures like the frogmen that really, really, I think, entertain the entire subject a little bit more.
I agree.
Right. Okay. Let us, we got 3 minutes here. We got time for one more question here. Let's go to Stephen in the United Kingdom. On any good United Kingdom cryptid stories or sightings recently?
Well, we all know about some of the well-known sightings, like the Mothman sightings down in Cornwall, and there have been others. There have been winged humanoid sightings and such. But as far as more recently, I think the Bigfoot sighting near Stonehenge, which happened about, and I don't know the exact date that was, but that was about 5 or 6 years ago, where these two ladies had stopped along the road in near, not far from Stonehenge, and they saw a Bigfoot runner across the field. And the way they described it, they saw it for a pretty good while. They saw it at a distance, but they saw this thing running around, and actually it wasn't too far from, and I checked the dates, it wasn't too far from where a crop formation had shown up a couple of days before that. Now, is that related? I don't know. I don't know if it's related at all, but it's interesting. UK does have some pretty interesting sightings. For time people would talk about, there's no way there's a Bigfoot or a hairy hominid in the UK. Well, that may very well be, but people are seeing them. Now, are they supernatural? They just pop up? That very well could be. But there's a lot of weird stuff over there in the UK.
Oh, yeah. Like drinking different kinds of tea. Terrible. Orange Pico or Earl Grey. That's all you need in life. Just telling you. None of these herbals and greens and all this kind of stuff. Well, Lon, you know what? We got about a minute to go here. Well, less than that before we got to go to break. And the good news is we're going to have an extendo version of Strange Days with Lon Strickler tonight. He's going to go until the bottom of the hour, and we really appreciate Lon taking the time for our audience because he loves you guys. Yes, he does. So keep the questions coming on in. And, Lon is obviously the creator, owner, lead investigator of phantomsandmonsters.com, where he's had literally multi-millions of hits on his website, people telling their stories, their encounters, and Lon reporting on them and finding out more information. This is how we solve it right here. This is how we get more information. It's not always nuts and bolts. People who have their reports need to be able to go to phantomsandmonsters.com and check out Lon's reports. File your own if you got one. Strange Days, Lon Strickler continues on Spaced Out Radio right after this. So stay tuned. We got more monster talk and your questions coming at you next in hour 3 of Spaced Out Radio. I finally got the little jerk that's been bugging my face for the last 30 minutes. Finally killed him.
I got a fly flying around here.
Oh yeah.
He's been
All right,
ducking
I'm
in
going to
on
be
me.
right. I'm going to be right back here, Lon. We still got questions coming in. Hey, Magnus for Magnuson, how you doing? We'll be right back here, Lon. I'm just going to put Dirty
Yeah, I gotta
Filth
take a break too.
He's
Okay.
done for the night, and I'll be right back.
Oh, fuck.
right, Uncle Lon, we have about a minute left. Super Quest. Oob to Joe's Maine. You've got Lolud. And, let's see here. Ooh, we do have a Magdy. Pretty cool. Hey, Stunning Sonia's News. How are you? And a big happy birthday to Aunt Edna today. We love you, my dear. Thank you so much for coming on in and sharing your birthday with us. We appreciate it. And a big thank you to Stephen, YJ, See How, Ed, Blue Jersey, Cat Chaser, Bob, and Lala for the super chats tonight. Hello, gorgeous Gloria. How are you? And we got about 20 seconds left. Then we'll get right to Lon, and we'll go to the bottom of the hour, and then we'll get to Swamp Dweller. 10 seconds. Hello, gorgeous Bill WD40 over in Spreaker. How are you, buddy? Here we go.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Let's kick off the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America and digitally on Odyssey Radio, TalkStream Live at KPNL. All of our archives are free. Join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR, Space Travelers Club. Yook. Yook is your password. Use it wisely. SpacedOut.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire. Check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. For the final time tonight, we bring in from phantomsandmonsters.com, Lon Strickler and Strange Days. Lon comes in near the end of each month to talk about the monsters that walk among us. And Lon, we got some audience questions we're going to continue with until the bottom of the hour here, starting off with Barbara. Says, I live in Hawaii. We don't have Bigfoot. Do you know of any cryptids in Hawaii?
No, I've heard of a lot of hauntings in Hawaii, but as far as cryptids, I have no idea.
Yep. Well, I have heard of the night marchers.
Yeah, the night marchers.
But that's pretty paranormal. Have you ever heard the stories of somewhere near the volcanoes, there's allegedly little raptor type of dinosaurs that are running around?
I haven't gotten a report of one. You know, these little raptor things show up at a lot of different places. We get them out in the Badlands areas of the United States, Texas, especially South Texas. We've had these little roadrunner-sized raptors, and either ones that are even bigger than that, little T-Rexes. So we get a few of those. But as far as in Hawaii, I've never heard of any of those.
Yeah, they're just surrounded by sharks. That's all you need. That's enough.
That's enough.
Yeah, they got Megalodon hanging out over there. That's all you need. That's
I don't discount those things are still around too.
Well, Max Hawthorne, I'm not sure if you know who he is. He's a good friend of this show. He believes that there are these super great whites that are out there. Super sharks, he calls them. Not as big as Megalodon, but somewhere between that 30 to 40 feet, that Jaws-like type of shark. and there's plenty of evidence, scarring on whales. There was a 15-foot great white that got caught up in one of the nets by a popular beach, and there was a singular bite that went spine to spine right around the neck of this 15-footer. And they figured that one was well over 30 feet. That would have did that. So I believe there's these, I still think there's megalodon out there somewhere. Maybe not the 60 footers, but the 40 to 50 footers. That's enough
there's
to
some
keep
mega,
me.
There's some mega sharks out there. I mean, I have no doubt of that. You hear some of these sightings that people see around South African Cape and down below Melbourne and down below southern Australia. Some of those descriptions are pretty big. I saw a, and it's funny because this was like a year after Jaws was filmed. I was in Plymouth, Massachusetts, and if you go around Plymouth up into, there's a nuclear facility there. In fact, it used to be, and you could look out over the bay, and you could see Cape Cod, and you could see whales and stuff. But we saw something in the water. That thing had to be 20 foot, and it was a great white. So those big fish are out there.
I have never been more scared of the ocean than a few years ago when I went to Provincetown, Massachusetts.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a big lobster fishing town.
Mm-hmm.
It's where the Pilgrims landed. And you walk along the beach, man, and literally they have giant billboards about stay out of the water because of the great whites. I mean, yeah, I'll tell you, I'm glad I didn't see a fin coming out of the water. The water was a little colder. So, but I'm telling you, man, I am so glad I didn't see a fin coming out of the water, because I would have died. I would have died. It would have freaked me out so bad.
Yeah, there's some big fish. I had a friend who was fishing in Chesapeake Bay up near the Bay Bridge years ago. This was back in the mid 80s. And he killed a 16-foot mako with a pistol. Yeah, he caught it while he was in his boat. Now, makos do come up there. I will get, but a 16-footer, that's a big fish. That's a man-eater right there.
Yep. So, not going near it. Not going near it.
Yeah.
If that water tastes anything salty, I'm not going in it. If there's a lake or an ocean, not going in it, because there's bull sharks in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the United Kingdom for a pair of questions one question from Jonathan here. And have you ever had any reports of the Michelin Man?
Yeah, I've heard several.
Can you tell us?
Yeah, we had a couple of them here in Pennsylvania. Something that looked similar to that. Now, there have been the Michelin Man aliens that look like the Michelin Man, like with the tires around the guy, that have looked like that. There have been reports of those. What we had in Pennsylvania, this was up in central Pennsylvania about 15 years ago, were what they were calling the Golden Boys. They looked like a cocoon, actually, but they looked like small tires around this thing. And this thing was actually floating in the air. And I got this report from a farmer up there. And he wasn't the only one I got a report of. And there were UFOs around the area as well. So that's kind of similar to what the Michelin Man reports were. But yeah, those Michelin Man reports, they do occur. They do occur.
Do you think they're alien?
Probably. Yeah, I mean, there's some form. And, when people describe them, they seem to look like the Michelin Man, but an actual humanoid in some type of suit. Is it somebody pulling a stunt? Well, I guess that always could be. But with this golden boy thing that people were reporting to me, that wasn't any guy in a suit. That thing was floating around. It was pretty good size too. I think they said it was like 7 or 8 foot in length. But it looked like a man it looked like something in a cocoon that looked like it had little segments around on it, like it had little tires around it. I don't know what the hell that was.
All right, let's continue on here with Lon Strickler on Spaced Out Radio. This one comes from Bama. Lon, do you think that it being the cryptid, whether it's Bigfoot or not or something else, that they are weightless when they cloak?
That's hard to say. I mean, do they actually change mass when they cloak? I don't know. That's a good question. I wouldn't think they would. When they cloak, can you actually touch them? I think maybe you could, but I don't think they change mass. If they did that, that'd really be extraordinary in my mind.
I think it's just camouflage. I don't think, in my opinion, I don't think they're changing weight.
Yeah,
but for me,
I think that's what it is.
Right. All right. Let us continue on here. Dre, first-time listener in our chat room, says, "Hey, Lon, have you heard any Bigfoot or dogman reports in Mexico or Latin America? The closest I've been able to find is Chupacabra."
There have been sightings down in South America of both, like a wolf man that has been seen in Brazil and Argentina, and in Argentina and Colombia. And I think there was one in Nicaragua at one point. There were like a hairy hominid. They have different names for them, and offhand, I don't remember what the names are, but they're very similar to what are seen here in the States and up in North America. But yeah, there have been reports. Not as many, but there have been reports.
Right. I don't recall hearing any reports from Latin America, Costa Rica, Guatemala, or anything like that outside of the Chupacabra and a lot of paranormal type activity. Do you think maybe it has to do with climate? For a big hairy creature, that would be an awfully warm place to settle down.
I think Argentina, they can acclimate pretty well. They get the climate in Patagonia and up into northern Argentina. It's pretty moderate. You get a little further towards the equator, I guess it can be a little tough. But of course, there are primates that live in equatorial climates, orangutans and such. So I believe it's possible that they could live there, but you just don't hear a whole lot about them.
Right. Well, hopefully one day we do. That's for sure. All right, let's go to Raz here. Would you make love to one of these creatures if they are attractive? I'm telling you, if there's some good-looking aliens out there, I may take the dip. I'm not going to lie.
Some of the ones that have been described to me, yeah, I mean, there's some pretty good-looking alien females out there, but I would probably need to be drugged or drunk or something. You get these reports of human males that have fornicated with these females, and well, most of the time it seems under duress, but I think they do. I think it can, but not me.
Brown Dwarf is wondering, Lon, do you accept videos and pictures of strange anomalies from the public for analysis?
Absolutely. That's what we
Where
do.
can people send those?
You send it right to my email, Lon Strickler, phantomsandmonsters.com.
Lon Strickler at phantomsandmonsters.com. If you have a report. Now, and I will tell you too, I'll say to our audience out there, the one thing I would trust with Lon is that your reports are going to be private. You know, your name is going to be private. He's not doing it for popularity or for hits or for, or clickbait or anything like that. He's doing it to bring attention to the research and the sightings that are happening. So if you have a report, Lon is one of the good guys that you can send reports to, and it will get investigated. So that's what I would like to add to that, if you don't mind, Lon.
I appreciate that.
Hey, I get people all the time asking where to send reports, and you're not picky, whether it's UFOs or Bigfoot or dogman, ghosts. You're not picky about it.
If it's interesting and real, and I believe it's real, and if I think there's some factual evidence behind it, and even anecdotal, I will feature it, and my team will get it as well. So yeah, we'll look into it.
I want to ask you in regards to anecdotal evidence, Lon, and we briefly touched on this previously, but I'd like to spend a few minutes on this because we only have you till the bottom of the hour. There is a real dislike these days by many in the cryptid, UFO, paranormal communities regarding anecdotal evidence and people who are having sightings without any so-called proof. Now, personally, I'm getting a little fed up with it because a lot of good people are being called liars, fakers, regarding their interactions with beings, especially those who have multiple interactions. From a research standpoint, I understand the more evidence, the better. That's not what I'm saying, but what's the fine line between accepting anecdotal evidence for what it is as true evidence?
It depends on the witness or the experiencer. I mean, that's just like this thing we've been going through for the last so many years in Chicago. I mean, when you talk to the folks and they tell you what they've experienced and they believe what they've experienced, they don't embellish on it. They're willing to talk about it. They're willing to talk to other members of the team. Even though everything's confidential, we do not put this stuff out unless we're told we can put it out, but rarely will we do that. All 99.9% of our work is done on anecdotal evidence. That's just the way it is. I mean, you're just not going to be able to get something, even a photograph or a video, every time. You have to rely on sketches many times. You have to rely on perception and recall. That's another thing. Everybody perceives something differently than everybody else. But you got to believe in your witnesses. You got to make them feel confident enough that, not push them, but to make them feel comfortable enough to come forward and tell you what they believe they saw. I don't believe that having physical evidence on each occasion is absolutely necessary. Because if it was, this whole thing would be pretty boring.
Do you think then that we as researchers are potentially shooting ourselves in the foot by being so rough and gruff on experiencers and their lack of photograph or video evidence to the point where it may start shutting people up again?
Well, I don't know. I don't think so. I think people who do not accept anything other than physical evidence are limiting themselves. And I think if we do not accept anecdotal evidence, that we're limiting the whole field, the whole paranormal field. I mean, this whole thing takes faith. You got to have faith. You got to believe in people. You got to take them for what they tell you. If you do feel that somebody's trying to pull the wool over your head, fine. Then you tell them. And there have been instances where I have told a witness, I don't believe they're telling me the truth. I don't believe their story. And I've had good reason behind that. And I will tell them why. But most of the time, I have people that will come forward and will, you can just tell by the way you talk to them that something happened. I don't know if it's because my intuitive ability or, that I've been doing this for so long that I can kind of read people when they're talking to me or, I don't know. But limiting your witnesses and your experiencers to a certain amount of evidence. And unfortunately, this is what happens. This is what I think is happening with MUFON for the most part. You got to trust people to a degree. And if you don't, you're just going to get shunned eventually.
Well, I think you also, we all together need to be keeping our minds a little bit more open. It doesn't hurt. This is the thing that bothers me because I see so many people out there on different podcasts, on different YouTube channels, literally ripping the experiential community, calling good people liars, fakers. And the only evidence that they have in calling these people these names is the fact that they didn't get a photograph. They didn't get a recording. They didn't, they weren't prepared. Well, you know what? You don't prepare for a car accident unless you have unless you have a GoPro going on in your vehicle, like a lot of people have. All right. How do we know the accident happened? We don't. Sure, we could see maybe the damage on a vehicle or a bicycle or something like that. But until we actually see that evidence, it's anecdotal. How do we know? Maybe a bad example that some people will say, oh, come on, Dave. But that's the reality. That's the reality. You can't shoot people in the foot all the time. You just can't.
Now, I get a little turned off by people who act like that in the community. But you gotta, if you're gonna work with me, you're gonna have to be open-minded, and you're gonna have to take people at their word to a degree. And you got to work with them. And if, of course, if they don't want to work with you the way on your capacity, then you don't have to do that. But sure, you got, there's nothing wrong with anecdotal evidence. We've been listening and reading and writing about anecdotal evidence for forever. And just because you don't get a photograph, you don't get a video, that doesn't mean a thing to me. You don't have, the witness experiencer is the real evidence. And that when I wrote my book, Alien Disclosure: Experiencers Expose Reality, it's all based on experiences. Now, of course, we had some photographic evidence, but for the most part, the experiencer incident and the recall and what they experienced and what happened afterwards, that's all anecdotal. And, it's coming to a point where people are going to be taken more serious about these incidents and their experiences.
All right. Lon Strickler, thank you, buddy, for another great edition of Strange Days. We will talk to you at the end of August. Hard to believe. We're already through July here. And good on you for another great night of radio for us here on Spaced Out Radio. Very much appreciate you, my friend.
We take it easy. I'll talk to you soon.
Very nice. Keep that beard and beautiful hair going, Lon Strickler. PhantomsandMonsters.com. Coming up, we're going to head to the swamp. Our resident swamp dweller is going to give us a spooky story, and then maybe we'll continue with anecdotal evidence or some sort of conversation right after that before Shirky Poo's News on Spaced Out Radio. Great show, buddy. Great show. That was good stuff there, Lon. Thank you for staying late for us.
No problem.
I
I hope you feel better.
Time. Oh, yeah, I'll feel better soon. One of these days. One of these days, you know. Geez.
Yeah, well.
One of these days. Excuse me. All right, buddy.
I'll talk
Go
to you
get some
soon.
sleep. Bye-bye.
Mm-hmm.
Love Lon Strickler. Love him. Hey, 416 Bitcoin. How you doing, buddy? Appreciate you, man. Mm-hmm. After Swamp Dweller, which topic do you... Oh, shoot. I forgot to put it in. Son of a gun. Hold on. Hold the hell on. This is a close one. Where are you? There we go. Close. This is this track. Holy cow, this was a close one. All right. Save that. Put that there. Whew. Almost had a that would have been tough. Would have been tough. Oh. I'm not getting eaten by a bear. That would suck. Completely suck. Just saying. Hey, Corbanian, how you doing, man? Look at Angel Wings here. Just hammering it. My mind is wide open, and I mean wide open, because we have been lied to from the beginning. So really no fear, and let it go. Let it go. Raz, I haven't got much more info out of him. Last time I talked to him, we were talking about Bob Lazar, and we were kind of debating that a little bit. And he's still quite unsure about the whole Lazar phenomena. Oh, it's sweaty in here. All right, we got about another minute to go. We got about another minute to go. Oh, those are filthy. I'm even seeing through these. No, I didn't catch Lou on the recent stream. I saw highlights out of it, but he's still saying the same stuff. All right, a big thank you to Lala, Bob, Cat Chaser, Blue Jersey, Ed, See How, YJ, and Steven in the UK for the amazing super chats tonight. Very much appreciate your love and support of SOR. You can also support us by going shopping on our website, spacedoutradio.com, and hit the shop button there. Fill out what you like, grab what you like, and then fill out the details, and we can get that off to you ASAP. Let's go here. We got about 10 seconds. We've rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. Very much appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. And I want to say that we can remind you that if you miss portions of this show or others, check out our free archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire. Check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. Now, normally we get into something here. Usually we're doing the UFO report or not, but Tim Senor is in Utah setting up for some major UFO type of investigation with a plethora of cameras and data recorders and everything that goes along the line. They're literally set up at Blind Frog Ranch, right next door to Skinwalker Ranch. Lots of woo happening out there. And we will be getting updates of that, I believe, later on this week, probably Wednesday night and Friday, which is going to be really, really good in order to see what's happening in those areas for unidentified aerial phenomena, otherwise known as UFOs. Yes, God, I hate that term UAP. I really do. So we're going to get to the Swamp Dweller a little bit late here tonight. And you know when Mr. Swampy is in here, he always has a pretty damn good story for us. And we got a good one tonight on Sasquatch. So we will get this up here and running here momentarily. Hey, I want to remind all of you that pretty soon we are going to be setting up our next Vegas adventure for the fans. It'll be May 19th to 21st of 2023. And we will have more information on our website coming up on that very, very soon, because we want all of you out there to join us in Vegas for a fan party. We're going to do a very long YouTube show, because our entire team is going to be there. So Jessica Jones, a cryptid huntress, is going to be doing her show, followed up by the After Hours crew. And then, of course, myself. We're going to be having live guests, and you get to sit in on board. You get to ask questions. We're going to have a microphone in the stands, so that way people can hear you on the air asking your questions. It's going to be a lot of fun. So we'll get that information to you here within the next few weeks and go from there. All right, let us at this time head to the swamp. Our resident swamp dweller takes us on another spooky adventure.
Hi, Spaced Out Radio listeners. This is Swamp Dweller. It's time for your nightly dose of spookiness on the show. If you have an interesting encounter or a spooky story that you would like to share, be sure to submit them in at swampdweller.net. You can also find our YouTube channel at youtube.com/swampdwellerreads. Now, let's chill out, relax, and together, let's enter the swamp. Hello, my name is Lindsay. I'm a 19-year-old female living in Pennsylvania with my parents and two of my sisters. We live in a rural area, and there isn't much that goes on out here. I listen to your stories every single morning at work and always wish I had a scary story of my own to share. Well, tonight, I got my own frightening tale. To preface the story a bit, my older sister and I have been hiking once before this experience, so we are not pros by any means. However, we always bring some safety items such as pocket knives, flashlights, and a medical kit. For this story, I will not be using my sisters' names for their anonymity. My older sister will be called Mary, and my younger sister will be referred to as Farrakha. So it was Farrakha's birthday, and she has never really been hiking. So we figured we would bring her on a little hiking trip to take advantage of the beautiful weather. The area we walked at prior is part of the state game lands. Hikers are permitted on the mountain trails during the off-season of hunting. However, not many folks know about this spot because there are no signs or anything until you walk the mile or so into the woods. By then, you reach a small parking lot of sorts that's usually empty. There are two main trails with the occasional blue dot on a nearby tree. If not for these spray paint dots to mark the path, you might not ever know that this was a trail because of how little use it really gets. Probably not the best first hiking spot for a couple of newbies like us. I know. It's super close to us and makes for a quiet hike with lots of scenery. So we decided to hike that trail again because we were somewhat familiar with it. We were excited and ready to have a nice relaxing walk through the mountain and hopefully get some cool pictures. We started walking from our house to the bottom of the hill, where we would begin our hike. On our way there, we were telling Farrakha about the trail and how beautiful it was. Mary then expresses concern that there could be animals of all sorts nearby because not many people live in this area. It's usually a site where animals would be, of course. It is woods after all. Still, I never imagined anything like what I'm about to describe would happen. After walking for about 15 minutes or so, we reached the parking lot. Mary leads the way, with me in the middle and Farrakha following closely behind. The first few steps onto the trail require walking up a small but steep hill. Mary crested the hill before Farrakha and me, and as she did, we heard a loud rustling noise to our left. I naturally chalked the noise up to some birds or maybe a squirrel messing around in the trees. But then, Mary suddenly stopped in her tracks, causing Farrakha and me to pause briefly. Just as I was about to ask her what the problem was, Mary calmly said, "Turn around, guys." Farrakha and I looked at her, confused and not understanding what she meant. I started asking why, and she said probably the scariest thing I have ever heard. "There is something over there. Run." Now, that sentence was a lot more difficult for Farrakha and me because we know Mary very well, and she doesn't scare easily. So to hear the apparent panic in her voice as she ordered us to run away from something that neither Farrakha nor I saw was terrifying. Mary and Farrakha immediately started sprinting back down the small hill as I was still standing in my place. I quickly looked behind me, but I didn't see anything. I did hear something, though. I was still baffled because I had not seen anything, and Mary never said what she saw. I ran over to Mary and Farrakha, who were waiting for me just before the entrance to the parking lot. I think part of the reason I hesitated to run right away was because I thought Mary might have been exaggerating a little. I should have known by the look on her face that she was not messing around. I had a miniature hatchet multi-tool and pocket knife on my belt, and you better believe I had them at the ready. I had no idea what I was expecting, but I knew whatever might run out of the woods behind us would get a face full of stainless steel. When I reached my sister's, I asked Mary where we were running from. She told us to keep moving as she constantly looked back at the trail that we had just come from. She even told us to jog just in case it followed us. We did. After flying a quarter mile, Mary finally told us what we were running from. She said she looked in the direction of the noise we had all heard and saw a huge gray figure hunched over about 10 feet off the trail. She described it to be at least the height of Farrakha, around 5'6". It had long, gray, patchy-looking hair and/or fur. She said it looked bipedal, but she didn't stick around long enough to take in every detail about the figure. However, she did note that it looked like it was shuffling toward us. I believe that made her get us out of there so fast. She must have feared that we were going to be chased. I have never believed in monsters or cryptid, but Mary said she honestly has no idea what that thing was. We don't have any animals in Pennsylvania that match that description, at least as far as I know. I know that black bears sometimes stand on their hind legs, but they are not gray. and it didn't sound big enough to be a bear. The only other thing it might have been was maybe a human. But why would someone be dressed like that? And why would they hear us distressed and not call out to us and let them know that they were not a threat? Maybe someone was doing drugs and was scared they would be busted. I don't know. I swear I've gone through every scenario. I don't know if I believe in Bigfoot or anything like that, but who knows? When we were almost home, Mary told us that she used to go to the bus stop with two of the neighbor kids years ago. She said that they would always walk, and they would hear this mysterious animal. Sometimes they would see it walking around the woods near their house, which is very close to the state game lands. They described it the same way, and said that it definitely looks like it's some sort of ape creature. At first, she did not believe them because she had never seen such a thing herself. But once, when the neighbor kid's grandmother was with them at the bus stop, Mary asked about this mysterious animal. The grandmother has always been religious and didn't seem to be the type to believe in something like these Bigfoots. But, to Mary's surprise, the grandmother said she also had witnessed the mysterious animal lurking around. Moreover, our house is just across the lawn from where our neighbors claimed to spot this unknown Bigfoot creature. I'm not sure if these two experiences are related. Besides, that was many, many years ago. But could the figure Mary encountered in the woods tonight be the mystery animal they saw all those years ago? Maybe it was a human or an animal. Who knows for sure? But what I do know is, I don't think I'll ever be hiking on the state game lands anytime soon.
Come on, go hunting there. What's going to happen? Some gray Sasquatch going to rip your lungs out? Hey, stranger things have happened. Stranger things have happened. Yep. We say thank you to Mr. Swamp Dweller for coming on into Spaced Out Radio with another spooky story, as per usual, every Monday through Friday night when we do this. And you can always follow Swamp Dweller yourself on YouTube. Head on over to youtube.com/Swamp Dweller Reads for literally thousands of stories of people filling them in, just like the one you just heard. Swamp Dweller Reads on YouTube. Go check it on out. It will be worth it. All right, moving on here. We've got a couple of minutes before we get to Shirky Poo's news. You know, I don't know about you guys, but I'm bored with this whole UFO thing. I am. There's too many roads, too many doors to open. I mean, I love the subject. Do not get me wrong. I love the subject of UFOs. I want to see more. I want to interact with more. And I'm sure many of you do as well. Some maybe even wanted to see one for the first time. But I'll tell you, the talking that's going on in between, you know, from whether it's Lou Elizondo, whether it's Nick Pope, whether it's absolutely anybody within the field, everybody trying to figure out what is happening. Don't call them UFOs, call them UAP, now call them something else, you know, now call them this. Now we got this project going, that project going. I'm exhausted. I got to be honest with you. I watch my good buddy in the UK named Jonathan Davies. He's been a guest on this show, and I am a big fan of Jonathan's. Big fan. I mean, this guy is a digger among diggers when it comes to information. And I follow a lot of what he's doing. And there's so many different voices with so many different opinions now. It really is getting hard on over to the UFO community and the public at large. And I find it really difficult at times trying to figure out who's who, what's what, and where to be leaning. You know, I mean, I don't even know where to go with this I really don't. The subjects are fascinating. The fact that it's in mainstream is fascinating. The stupidity of the media is not fascinating. It's actually abhorrent. I don't think I've ever used the word abhorrent here on the show. But I got to tell you, I'm getting tired. And I know many other researchers are getting just as tired because you don't know who to turn to. You don't know who to talk to. And if you talk to the right people, you don't even know if you're getting the truth. And that's what it comes up with. And, reading Jonathan in our chat room here, he's like, I'm exhausted as well, Dave. Look, there are questions about everybody. There's questions about Lou Elizondo. There's questions about Nick Pope. There's questions about everything that is going on. And it just seems like people, especially in this community, are willing to accept everything verbatim and at face value. Look, I believe Lou Elizondo because I've talked to the man. All right. And I think I'm a pretty good judge of character. All right. I believe people like Grant Cameron or Melinda Leslie, old timers that have been doing this for 35, 40 plus years, who have literally found their own niches and ran with it. I believe, there are people out there trying to thwart the system. I look at Nick Pope in that regard, Stephen Greer in that regard. Every time you pick up a UFO report, there's Nick Pope getting paid by Fox News or CNN or whatever media outlet to be their expert. And in the meantime, he never says anything new. The only thing, he's getting paid to quote other people's quotes. It's terrible. Give me something, Nick. Give me something. Give me some love. Give me some sugar. Give me some juice, man. Well, I believe Lou Elizondo said it best. Yeah, because you don't have any fresh words of your own. I hate the UAP stuff. It's UFOs. There was no need to change the acronym no matter what the government says. Let's just use UFOs. Can we take that word back? I might ban UAP the same way I banned the word squatch on this show. UAP is starting to bug me just as badly. It feels like when they got rid of the whole UFO stigma, that they took control of the subject. They being the UFO government. All right. I say we ban the word UAP. I'm going to look at chat right now. I want to see how many of our listeners in my chat room right now on YouTube will actually say yes or no to banning the word UAP. Are you on Team UFO or Team UAP? Look, if we want to take back this whole subject matter, it's real simple. Stop using the words UAP or the acronym. It's UFO or USO. Says everything about everything. Look at this. So far, it is 100% Team UFO. Okay, 99%. Star Scarred in our chat room says family used UAP 30 years ago. Yeah, let's ban it. Let's ban it. I'm going to talk to the Spaced Out Radio team about banning unidentified aerial phenomena. Believe it or not, and this is truthful, on a YouTube algorithm scale for keywords, UFO blows UAP out of the water. Nobody is researching UAP. Everyone is looking for UFO videos on YouTube. That's the truth. Everybody's going for it. UFO. Is that it's unidentified flying object. Nice, simple, historic, no dirt on it. Can mean everything. YJ says UAP is a psyop. It was invented to change the narrative from aliens to nuts and bolts. YJ, brilliant comment. Brilliant comment in our chat room. That's what it takes for a good BC boy like myself to bring up this good stuff. Can't stand UAP. And I agree. I do believe it's part of a narrative. I do believe that. Oh, well. What do you do? What do you do? Let's just take it back. Let's take back our wording. It worked for 75 years. I'm pretty sure it'll still work today. Corbanian Courier. They changed the language, changed the narrative. That is right. Raz says, it's all good. We should go to the wise thing you said before. You called it the stage called ET confirmation. There is no such thing as disclosure, people. No such thing as disclosure. And that is the truth. Thank you all for listening tonight. Really do appreciate it. Thank you to Swamp Dweller for coming on in with another spooky story. And Lon Strickler for going 2.5 hours with us with great monster reports on strange days. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal rocking us out with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, at work, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat rooms tonight, YouTube, Twitch, LGAP, Facebook, and the Space Travelers Club, and Twitter. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends,
make a mistake. We're watching.
We own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo Train has docked for the night, but soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we've got room for them too. Good night. That was a good show. Very good show. Thank you for joining us tonight. Give me 1 second. Let me get those damn things off. Holy cow, my ears are warm. Want you for so long, wait for you to fall. We'll expose you all. You know what's screwed about YouTube? We have been using the same theme song for over 6.5 years. Bumblefoot's little brother is watching. And every show, we have to submit a letter from Bumblefoot to YouTube that states we have permission to use his music. And to this day, each and every day, it hurts us on our algorithms because we are using copyright music. But do you think we can get a hold of somebody at YouTube or TuneCore or ASCAP, which protects musicians' livelihoods with copyright? Do you think we can get a hold of somebody who will help us? Mm-mm. Mm-mm. No. So one of the conundrums we have going forward, because every show that hits that we have under copyright infringement, it hurts our value. It hurts our ratings and everything on YouTube. So now I got to figure out whether or not I need to change music. And I'm in a conundrum here because I have to stop the copyright infringement. But Little Brother is Watching is kind of our song, you know? It's like he wrote it for us. It doesn't matter whether we put credit in the description. That's part of the issue. Right? It really bites to be put in that predicament. It really bites. Because I really don't want to lose our theme song. I really don't. But the idea that YouTube doesn't have a phone number or a complaint area that we could talk about, because everything is just so against the grain. And that's the way these tech companies have made it. It sucks. It really, really does suck. And unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about it. Nothing. And I don't know. We're trying to find the loophole. We are trying to find the loophole. And I don't know if it's working or not. I really don't. I'm hoping it is, but I don't know. If you file it in your location, YouTube has to send a representative. I don't understand that, YJ. Oh, no. I'm not going to take YouTube to court over it. There is a way around it. Like, say, for instance, if you're a bigger channel, okay, you get some good pull with YouTube. They actually do give you a phone number that you can call. We're just not that big yet, shall we say. Sorry, I'm just deleting some episodes here on our Spreaker so that way I can make more room. There we go. There we go. Okay, close that. All right. But it sucks. It sucks, man. Have a good night, Corbanian. No, we don't need to lease the song. I already have an agreement with Bumblefoot. But the problem is there's two companies called TuneCore and ASCAP that protect artists. We've talked to both of them. And Bumblefoot has talked to both of them. And they continue with it. Keep getting flagged. So I got to figure something out here. Nothing to do with the CRTC. It has everything to do with YouTube's governing assistance on YouTube. So oh yeah, there's a lot of it out there, the free to use music that I like, but there's just something special about Bumblefoot, right? That's kind of hard to give up because he loves what we do. I'm gonna have to write him an email. Oh, well, is that the right one? Yeah, that was the right one. Hi, Holly Williams. Welcome to SOR Chat. No, we do this show every night, Monday through Sunday. We are here. I'm only here Monday through Friday, and then the weekend team comes in for Saturdays and Sundays. But thank you so much for checking us out. Hopefully we did enough to earn you to hit that subscribe button and ring that bell every night. Every night we're here because we want to be. Yeah, that would be different if we own the rights, but that would never happen. And sure as hell, I'm not going to ask him for that. He's been way too generous. We'll figure something out. You going to bed early? He's just about to go on tour in South America right now. Yes. James Landoli. The giant question mark. Right, Jonathan Davies? The giant question mark. I need a shave too. Holy cow. That's terrible.
If your vehicle makes a if your vehicle makes
I may make something up. Edit the song in between. There's an idea. There is an idea. Save the files. Options. Try something here. Hey, Gong Show. How you doing, buddy? I'll be right back, guys. All right, I'm back. All right. So let me do a little bit of this title. How do we... get rid of that? 'Cause that's what's kind of problem. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. All right. There we going. There we go. Chris Mo, how you doing? No, I didn't fall going to the bathroom. I am tired, though. So it wouldn't surprise me if I actually did fall. Oh, blueberry plague. It's so good. No, Dave will not drink some kombucha. Dave will be going to bed here in a few minutes because Dave is tired. Oh, yeah. Dave's mooned you a couple of times. All right, that one's done. Let's go here. Send this one off. Upload. Transfer. There we go. Hey, Logan L. How you doing, buddy? Yes, I saw that. I think what I may do is I think the easiest way would be to chop up the theme song and create a new intro. I'm gonna have to think about that. That actually makes sense. I just got to think what I want to put in between it. See you, Ed Clater. Thank you for the super chat, man. I just got to find out how much of a song. How much song can you legally use on YouTube for copyright infringement? All right. So you can use 10, 15, or 30 seconds. I'm going to have to look this up. I'm going to try that out. That doesn't really tell me. It doesn't tell me very much right there. That one's done. Upload folder. There we go. Jonathan, can you send me that link on Facebook Messenger? Because I can't grab it off of StreamYard here. I'd appreciate that. Thanks, buddy. That was quick. Oh, I'm on Pixabay too. Very cool. Appreciate that, John. I'm going to try chopping it up and see what we can do. Why do we keep cutting out? I swear my internet is. Like I have shitty internet, but I got great internet here. I'll look that up tomorrow. I will look it up tomorrow. What do we got here? Hey, Carbines, how you doing, buddy? Appreciate that super chat, man. Thank you so much, man. Yes, I'll blame Trudeau for it. I will blame Trudeau for it. When in doubt, blame Trudeau. It's just so much easier that way. All right, share that. And that is done. It's on tomorrow night. Paula Asteria is on tomorrow night. We're going to be talking UFOs, disclosure, confirmation, everything to go along with that. So it'll be a lot of fun. And we get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern. Big thank you tonight to Lala, Bob, Cat Chaser, Blue Jersey, Ed, C. How, YJ, Steven, and Carbine's Right for a great, great night of radio. Thank you to all of you for tuning us in, all the veterans out there. Dave's heading off to bed because Dave is tired. So we'll talk to you tomorrow night, guys. Take care.
Stay healthy, my friend.
You too.
You need bail money, give me a call.
Always, Dad. Take care.
You too.